Okay, I woke up at approximately 4 a.m. today, and it's now after 6, so it's been a long morning. This is my COVID-19 pandemic chronology update for today, Saturday, 19 November 2022, which is my 50th consecutive day of filming these chronology videos day of and publishing them the same day. Woo woo, 50 days of this. Not an all-time record for the longest streak I've had of publishing videos, but perhaps it might be for me being on camera and publishing videos. I would have to go back and check that, but yeah, my minimum number of days I would need to do to enter all-time territory is 67. And I don't actually know what the number is. I need to check that if I want to check that. That wasn't really my intent with all this, but it's been a byproduct. So what is my update for today? Well, I guess this is documenting my life during the COVID-19 pandemic, and I've been doing pandemic pit crew writing and publishing work on Wikipedia, and I've had writer's block. And accompanying my writer's block, so I got my the article I was working on published yesterday. That was yesterday's update. And after I filmed that video, I wrote and published 2 more articles. And I am now in those 2 articles I was like, you know what, if it just flows and if it's right, and I've broken my writer's block, just get them out. And my goal is to have them both done and published by this coming Tuesday. So it's Saturday, so Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I'm 3 days ahead of schedule now. So it's safe to say I've cured that little bout of writer's block, and thank goodness it was just a little bout of writer's block. What I mentioned and didn't really expound that partially it's social, partially it's contextual, partially it's mental, writer's block, but there's also a physical component for me. And what that tends to correlate to if I'm working on the thing, so like if I'm working on the article, my sleep habits change. I get up earlier. So like I've been getting up or not getting up, I'll wake up and then I'll be like, am I really awake at 4 something in the morning? Yes, it's part of my writer's block. And then I also, with writer's block, I have the urge to walk more or run more. So that's the physical, anatomical component of it for me. Or physiological. There we go. That made the right word. Okay. So today's update is I've conquered this mini bout of writer's block. There's the lingering physical effects, physiological effects, like me getting up earlier, waking up earlier, and getting up earlier. I even had breakfast at 5 something this morning. Okay, so what have I been up to? I've been thinking about my upcoming field work, and my upcoming field work is Wednesday. This coming Wednesday is the tentative date, so it's 23 November 2022, and I'm going to the King County Aquatic Center. And it's the holiday season, and Thanksgiving is kind of my favorite holiday. And I did piglet mode yesterday. There's a bunch of good food around, so I ate more than normal. And I was thinking, do I have the right date for my field work? And if I do, maybe I can add some restaurants in when I go to this King County Aquatic Center in Federal Way. And so field work date, I'm ahead of schedule because I've kind of shaken my writer's block and got the 2 additional articles I wanted to get done before I go done. I could go early. I am liking saying in this video. I could go early. I am not going to go early. I'm going to stick with my tentatively set date, so I guess it's an officially set date. The biggest mistakes I've seen by people my age is when they get really far ahead of schedule and they're like, I'm going to do something a few days early. I'm going to do something a few years early. I'm going to do something a few weeks, a few months early. And they are so happy they did it at the time. They're so happy they did it a few weeks later. They're so happy they did it early, 3 years later. And then 10 years after they did that something early, they regret it. And so I've just kind of learned there are times where moving things forward are appropriate, but this is like one of those things where I'm like, I've seen people make this mistake and I'm not going to make this mistake. So I'm sticking with Wednesday. And there are a bunch of restaurants down in Federal Way and Tacoma and kind of South Seattle, SeaTac area. And so I was like, what do I want to eat? I'm on a budget. I don't make that much money. So it's early. I'm getting my hydration in. Might be the first time I'm doing that in a video. My throat's been dry. Well, it's dry when I wake up in the mornings because I've been drinking water during the night. Yeah, so not like I'm sick. So I've been watching the YouTube channel, The Try Guys. This is the handle, @TryGuys. I'm going to try and do a mention, my first ever mention in the video description. So this is my first mention of a YouTube channel, like in a formal mode, and I'll put it in the video description. I don't know if it'll work in the video description, so I'm putting it on a little piece of paper in case it doesn't. So I've been watching their channel, and they have these segments for Eat the Menu, and the guy is Keith Habersberger or something like that. And so I went through and I watched the full episodes. They can be 30 minutes, they can be over an hour long. So I've been watching a bunch of those, and so I'm gonna go through 3 of my choices for when I go south to Federal Way, because I've started embracing piglet mode because of Thanksgiving, so I get to do more piglet mode on my adventure. And piglet mode just means I'm eating a bunch of food because I'm like, yeah, it's that time of year. Piglet, I can be a piglet. So at first is Jollibee. It's a Filipino food chain. My granddad was stationed in the Philippines during, I think it was the Vietnam War. I had a number of Filipino friends growing up, and Filipino food at least looks delicious. I don't actually know if I've had Filipino food. I think I have. But well, okay, I have, but not like a full meal. I don't. But yeah. And the one thing that's happened during the COVID-19 pandemic here in Seattle. So these choices are inspired by the Try Guys Eat the Menu videos. So Jollibee, in Seattle during the COVID-19 pandemic, there's been a push by Asians to segregate people of European descent from Asians and people of Asian descent. And there's been a big push, and it's been on the news a bunch of, they would prefer to serve their own kind, and they would prefer that the people patronizing them and that kind of stuff is Asian. So, as someone who has 0 parts Asian, I'm 0% Asian, I'm 0% Pacific Islander, I listened to that preference, and they're kind of segregating themselves from, and expressing that they want to segregate people like me with my skin tone from people like them. I can heed that wish, right? And just, my money is not wanted here. My money is not welcome. So, Jollibee is out. So, up next, what's a quintessential European descent food? Burger King! So, I'm actually, I'm part Scottish. McDonald's does not apply. I'm not Clan McDonald. I am I am Clan Gordon Clan. I have other clans, Irish and Scottish clans, but yeah, Burger King is I like Burger King more. I've put that in a video before, but McDonald's isn't an entirely appropriate choice in the first place, considering I'm not Clan McDonald. Okay, so there's Burger King. I had my first Whopper. It was I think it was approximately 20 plus years ago, and I don't know if I've had one since. And I don't know if I've ever had Burger King onion rings. And I was like, there we go. There's a meal. And yeah, this is inspired by the Try Guys. And then this is also inspired by the Try Guys. Subway. Yes, sandwiches. Yeah, European style sandwiches, I guess. European descent style sandwiches. Back to the ums. Yeah, they have some good food. I like Subway. Meatball, get myself an Italian meatball sub. Get myself 3 Italian meatball subs. That I could not do. My belly is not ready for that. I have to be exercising way more to do something like that. But those are my options. I am leaning, so Jollibee's out. Between these two, I'm kind of leaning towards the Whopper and onion rings. But we shall see. I have to find Burger King. If I'm recalling correctly, there's one like a Burger King like not like right by the King County Aquatic Center, but if I'm on the freeway, right after getting off the freeway, there's a Burger King right there. So, if I'm recalling that correctly, I actually drove past the Burger King, to get fuel like 2 years ago during one of my 2019 COVID-19 pandemic driving adventures around the Puget Sound area, if I'm recalling correctly. Yeah. I went over to the Olympic Peninsula, came down and came up and came back through Federal Way and fueled up at the gas station across the street from this Burger King. So that would be a really weird choice if I did it, because that's like the COVID-19 pandemic coming full circle, literally, physically, in physical reality. Yeah. So that is my update for today, is food choices for Wednesday.